All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk to you guys about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors. We talk about all the drama. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations amongst superstars. We talk about, new signings. We talk about basically anything from WWE to AEW. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. So make sure you guys smash that like and subscribe button to our network to get all these amazing podcasts with these awesome notifications to let you know when we produce more content. All right, so without further ado, we're definitely running pretty short on time. Like I said, definitely apologize. On the way home, it was not kind to me. Plenty of traffic lights are out. And due to all the wildfires in Los Angeles, there's about 5. As of this morning, when I read it, it was about 5. But, I heard there was another one. But obviously, thoughts, prayers, and condolences are for, Los Angeles, first responders, and, of course, those who were affected. There's over, 40,000 acres burned. 200,000 residents are evacuated. It's pretty damn nuts. So, pray for LA, definitely 1,010%. So, yeah. All right, without further ado, let's talk about WWE commentary team shake-up. According to reports, WWE officials are insanely impressed with the announced team of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. Obviously, they held down the fort. Once when Michael Cole went to SmackDown, obviously, once when Fox, was on SmackDown. No, SmackDown was on Fox. Fox was on SmackDown. That would be kind of crazy. Obviously, the team of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, they were good. They've been good. They have the talent. I saw Joe, and I got to be honest, I was a little like, okay, let's see how well this guy could possibly, see how he's going to do. I did have some skepticism, and because I think he does college ball too, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I could be tripping. But, he's one hell of an announcer. He could definitely do it from every angle possible. Wade Barrett, obviously, a former WWE superstar. He kind of knows, he's that heel, you know what I mean? He's that, that Jerry the King Lawler to Jim Ross, or that Taz to Michael Cole, or that Jesse Ventura to Vince McMahon. He's that antagonistic person that's going to, there's obviously they back up the heels and they make the, the baby faces look a little silly. But overall, it's going to be pretty cool to kind of ultimately see them run WWE SmackDown. And, I think it's going to start pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they started tonight. Like I said, I've not checked a single shred of social media. I've not checked anything on SmackDown. They could have started tonight. I'm not too sure how that would have went because on WWE NXT New Year's Eve, you saw the announced team of Booker T, Vic Joseph, and Corey Graves. So that started. Maybe perhaps they did start today. And honestly, that kind of makes me more excited to check out SmackDown. But on NXT with Vic Joseph and Booker T, I gotta be honest, these two they have good chemistry together. Booker T is like that in-your-face commentary who's not afraid to say rational things, and Vic Joseph, of course, has to set him straight. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they banter, sometimes they fight, sometimes and that's classic WWE. But you saw on WWE NXT New Year's Eve, I'm not too sure if anybody watched it. You saw Corey Graves there, and fans were excited. When I first saw Corey Graves there, I was like, all right, this could be good because I'm not a huge Corey Graves I'm not a huge Corey Graves fan, but he announces, he's pretty good. He's definitely, he's like the right-hand man kind of thing. But, it just, on NXT, it seemed like he would really wanted to be there. There's been reports circulating around the wrestling industry saying that, Corey Graves going back to NXT is kind of a demotion, and I don't really believe that. Right now on NXT, they're their own business, they're their own entity. They're not really much they're not really seen, or at least in my opinion, they're not really seen as the little brother of SmackDown or Raw, where you would have the draft and all these people are excited to put on their Monday Night Raw hats, so excited to put on their SmackDown hats. Obviously, you know, when you saw Blair Davenport being drafted, you saw Dijak, who was drafted to Monday Night Raw and then ultimately released, which is kind of weird. Laverne Valkyria making it on to Raw. Obviously, Carmelo Hayes coming out, still using that, oh, I'm the number one draft pick, you know, WWE's number one draft, you know, yeah, you know, to kind of keep that alive. Maybe they'll kind of still have that power distance between NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. But I like NXT. The women's division on NXT runs the show. It simply runs it. You have more women's matches on WWE NXT than sometimes on Raw and SmackDown combined. And, you know, definitely Dynamite, Collision. And I feel like Collision and Rampage, I feel like they do show the women more of a little bit of love, you know, give them more attention. But I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the NXT announced team. I feel like, you know, adding Corey Graves, ultimately, I feel like it kind of cripples it, you know, and like I said, I'm not a huge Corey Graves kind of guy, but you know, I like Vic, and I like Booker T. You know, they just, you know, play off each other so damn well. You even heard, you know, I think it was during the Julia and Roxanne Perez match, I think it was, or you know, I could be tripping, where you had Booker T literally had to call Corey Graves out by name to be like, what do you think about that, Corey? What do you think about that? And, you know, Corey was, you know, he said a couple of words and then bam, that was it. So do I think Corey Graves is happy on NXT? I don't. Honestly, I don't. You know, you literally went from being on Fox with Michael Cole, you know, his right-hand man, and Pat McAfee is back. Pat McAfee is back. He's going to be back full-time after the end of the football season. And, you know, Michael and Pat are great. They're great. 1,010%. I love it. I do love it. PW insider Dave Meltzer says Corey Graves is indeed off the WWE main roster, and you know, on Wrestling Observer Radio, Graves is appearing on NXT. Was you know, not a one-time deal, so we're probably going to see him. You know, we're going to see him, you know, make his way back to NXT, and I don't think it should be viewed as a demotion whatsoever. And you know, from the main roster, you know, he's going to be missed. You know, he's that voice. He has that, you know, he has that attitude. He has that it factor. You know, Corey Graves, you know, he put, you know, like look at him in the picture, like with a leather jacket and a silk smooth button-up T-shirt with a necklace with tattoos on his neck. He looks cool. He looks badass, man. Obviously, you know, but I feel like him and Michael Cole, as opposed to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, it's not really Netflix material. And like, I'm not trying to say that to be like, you know, a jerk. Be like, oh, okay, Eric, you're. I don't hate Corey. I don't hate Corey Graves. I don't hate Corey Graves. I'm just not the biggest fan of him. And you know, is that swaying my opinion? No. Am I trying to stay an objective wrestling journalist? Of course, absolutely, 1,010%. But Corey Graves is damn right. I'm just kidding. No. He's cool. He really is cool. He's great. I loved Corey Graves, as you know, when he was wrestling. Obviously, due to like concussions and stuff like that, he had to call his wrestling career. You know, he had to call it over, which sucks. Obviously, that's not easy. Corey Graves obviously still looks in pretty damn good shape that he could be wrestling inside the ring still. But you know, it's just it just sucks. It's just, you know, it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy, but ultimately it should be, you know, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Him on NXT is all right, you know. But, you know, one of the huge reasons why Corey Graves is a huge, you know, who I don't really, the reason why Corey Graves is not my cup of tea is, you know, you see that man sitting in the middle. You know, you have Mauro Ranallo coming from, you know, UFC. When he was on NXT, it was super freaking badass. It was awesome. He made every match into like a WrestleMania main event. And you know, it was you know, it was kind of crazy, you know. You know, he basically Twitter trolled Mauro Ranallo, you know, at an NXT Takeover War Games in 2019, where he, you know, tweeted shots, you know, during the commentary, and you know, Obviously, Mauro Ranallo, his past was hard, his hectic schedule, and of course him turning 50, and spending a significant amount of money on mental health treatment. And he even had, he said this, and I quote, "Social media is so dangerous, and for those of us with mental health conditions." And, so do you want to call, Corey Graves a cyberbully and stuff like that? Maybe. I'm just kidding, no. I just don't, obviously when you're fighting for a position in, that you want for a job, maybe Corey Graves did let, some animosity or maybe potential jealousy, or maybe perhaps he wanted to get into that announcing position. Perhaps he could have, so then at that point, if you, hop on Twitter and join all the Twitter trolls, you can definitely, I don't know. I loved Mauro. I thought he was definitely one of the best WWE announcers that they've had, since, Jim Ross. He had that Jim Ross kind of feel. And, Corey Graves had this to say in defense. He said, "What's up, everybody?" Right after that, that sending out the tweet already seems kind of stupid. I'm just kidding. He said it was an unpopular, position, and that he wasn't, that he was just basically saying it to be like, it was part of the show. It was part of the show. It was, he never meant to disrespect or disparage anybody. But, that once again, that just kind of, shows the seriousness of anxiety and depression. Of course, if you are heavily immersed in social media, you are constantly, reading stuff, you're, rechecking your feed, you're refreshing the screen, and it's just like, it is an addiction. We talked about it earlier today that, on this podcast that, sometimes you're scrolling on Instagram and you're just consuming all this content. Instagram's, algorithms are learning your likes, and they're going to show you a lot of bit of your likes. But guess what? All the stuff that you spent looking at the screen because you're insecure, so you're watching this video, or there's something that scares you that you want to watch, or something that you want to find out more information about that isn't necessarily produced inside of a positive aspect. Those kind of algorithms are saved to your Instagram as well, and they keep popping up at you. Yeah, we want to make sure you guys are entertained, definitely 1,010%. We want to make sure that you guys are consuming the content that you guys love so damn much. That, 100%. But also, we want to exploit some of your insecurities, so you kind of stayed hooked on this thing that's called, social media. So, Mauro Ranallo, definitely one of the best WWE announcers. And, he even said, the whole thing between Corey Graves is kind of like a blessing in disguise. He wanted to thank Corey, would be like, okay, that's the reason why I'm stepping off of Twitter, guys. I'm stepping off of Twitter. I'm stepping off of social media, taking a step away. And, like I said, I definitely miss him. I feel like he would definitely be a pivotal factor on WWE today. I think last time I heard his voice, I think he did do I think he was part of the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. I'm not too sure. On Netflix, so hopefully that connection between, him being on Netflix announcing, maybe WWE brings him back. So, definitely love to see that. Obviously, the commentary team shakeup on WWE is, super badass, super cool. I just hope that, I hope that NXT stays as great as it is, especially in terms of commentary. All right, so without further ado, let's jump on into our fourth segment. John Cena declares a victory at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, he popped up to announce his retirement tour on WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So we're going to talk about John Cena potentially winning the Royal Rumble. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.